Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Kristen of the Good Doctors of Abbey Research. Here at Abbey Research, we are deep believers in the idea that cultivating curiosity can change the world. And so in service to that idea, I have the incredible privilege of occupying the space of this series, of conducting this series. It's called Welcome to My World, where I talk to people different than me about something in their lives I don't know anything about. You get to eavesdrop, and then we all get to grow, because that's how empathy and change works. If you allow someone else's worldview into your life, you expand yours and you move about the world accordingly. So today I am joined by someone I am very privileged to be talking to. Nicole Krug is a digital brand strategist, who to me, by the way, whenever someone says that, I just hear magician, who is focused on helping small businesses grow. She founded Socialite in 2009 and has helped clients hone their digital marketing strategies to bring more exposure to their brand and boost their bottom lines. And since we are all very accustomed to eating, I am sure your clients are well served by your wisdom. Nicole, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. And thank you for calling me a magician. That might go into my elevator pitch going forward now.
Oh my gosh, all the marketing stuff I've tried, like homegrown over the last bunch of years, any of you who know what you're doing are magicians. I just swear, you're incredible. But one of the things that really attracted me as we've met in a marketing space, a networking space, is your passion for small businesses. Mm-hmm. So I'd love for you to tell our audience about why you chose to focus on small businesses.
So two things. One of my absolute favorite things about what I do is that I get to hear about what everybody else does, kind of sort of like what you do. Like my clients range from a sex therapist to an at-home euthanasia vet who helps end your life or end your buddy's life in peace. I've got an options trader. I've got various business consultants. I've worked with the blockchain people. And so I love all the things that I get to learn about it. But I've done up and down in my career, like big companies, little companies, and the big companies, you're just, there's so much red tape and you have to do so much to prove anything. And the little companies just go out and do. And so I love the fact that when I get to work with decision makers in small business, like we make a difference in their business and their lives, because they get to grow their business and they get to do things. And I get to kind of go along for the ride, which is really fun.
Love that. Yeah. And I think, there's all those memes that go around sometimes where it's like, if you buy shoes at Target, this is who you benefit. If you buy shoes at your local cobbler, this is who you benefit. And that's very real. And for those of us who own and work in small businesses, it feels very visceral. But the other part of working in a small business is that you are constantly like a jack of all trades. Mm-hmm. And one of those is absolutely that we have to do our own marketing, and most of us are really poor at it. So from your kind of experience, what are some of the blocks to small businesses doing good marketing?
One of the things that a lot of small business owners struggle is they don't think they have anything to say, or they don't think they're interesting. And the fact is, it's amazing coming out from a third party. I just started working with a cybersecurity consultant who went on his own, and he's like, well, I know this, but I don't really have a voice and all this. And we start talking, and he just jumps in, right? You think what you know is so commonplace that other people aren't going to find it interesting. And so I think that's almost one of the backups, that you need that third party to actually help you extract that and help you figure out what it is. I think there's also most small businesses lack strategy, meaning that they throw something up and see if it happens. And that's both in, let's take social media. You try one thing because that's what you thought of today, and then maybe you don't think of something until another 2 weeks, and you try it, and it feels so discombobulated, and people don't know what you're talking about and all that. And I also see on the other side of it, small business owners don't check their analytics. It sounds so simple, but you spent $500 on an Amazon ad and you think it went okay. But if you actually check the analytics, you spent $500, but you only got $100 back. And that is no bueno. And you can't keep doing those things without paying attention.
Yeah, that was a personal attack. Thank you for doing that. I am famous for thinking that we have a really good graphic that I could promote on Instagram. That we do, and it's great. And then I don't ever double check if it did anything. It's one of my brand consistencies. So yeah, but I want to go back really quick to the content generation in a certain way. So anybody who's not in a small business, I'll tell you that if you Google how to grow your small business, there's around 4.9 million people who want to tell you how to do it.
Probably.
And it feels really overwhelming. But I will say that one of the things that is consistently talked about is consistency. But most people, whereas like my small business, one of my small businesses is a lot about thought generation. And so coming up with thoughts is not super difficult. But like the manufacturing side of our family division, we don't really do anything different. Like we've been making this product the same way for, I don't know, since the 1920s. So it doesn't feel like I have a lot of new, fresh ideas. So when you're working with somebody who's making widgets or selling makeup or something, and they're like, but Nicole, I do the same thing every day. So what's your reaction to that?
You're taking me back to like 15 years ago where I worked for a company that, sold stuff to military bases, right? Not the commissaries, but like the unit stuff. And one of the gals came up to me and she said, this month we have to create these or promote these green notebooks that have been around forever and nobody cares about. And it looked at me and I was like, well, that's a classic. And so we did like Rosie the Riveteer type thing, holding the notebook of like nothing goes out of style, right? Like retro's cool. And so there's so many, sometimes again, if I could just make money brainstorming, I would that would be my happy place because I can spew out ideas that when you look at, you never think of, right? Because you do it over and over again. But there's so many things like if you've been doing it from 1920, like Throwback Thursdays are a thing, right? And you can go back through so many of these other things. You can talk about the evolution of like when this launched in 1920, 5 things cost 1 cent. And isn't that so funny? And I think what a lot of people try and do, and especially when it comes to content, is that they feel like I have this widget and I always have to talk about this widget and this new stuff. But part of it is that it's part of the whole thing about branding, right? If you think about like Nike, they don't ever say this shoe brand. They advertise this feeling and this thing, right? They're not usually, you never see a specific product that they're trying to push. They're doing branding. And so some of that is very much just staying on somebody's radar. But when nobody wants to hear you say widget, 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 buy, but if you are in there and you're talking about content, you're talking about something interesting or the timelines, or you're throwing back, like that gives somebody a reason to follow you. And then so kind of rule of thumb, like for every 10 posts, do one thing about yourself. But like have some other interesting content that you're not being pushy, you're building relationships, you're creating personality, right? Or, whether that's you or for your manufacturing thing, like you go back through your timeline and things that are classic and things that are cool or complementary type things.
I love that idea. We've been, we're not in the middle of a rebrand or anything else like that, but the parent company of Abbey Research, I am also the COO of and co-owner of. And that's a new thing. My brother and I just took over from my dad. We're in the process of figuring out how to tell some of our customers who are notoriously change averse that all of this is names on a page. There's nothing else different. And so we've been very hesitant to make a big splash about it. And kind of, it's a lot in conversations. We're not shy about it, but there feels like some strategery around how we share that kind of stuff. But as we're doing that, we're thinking like, well, it'd be really cool to tell people what our products do. And it'd be really kind of fun to we make dye. That's pretty Instagrammable. So like, let's kind of do these kind of things, but it all feels so overwhelming where it's like, we don't have the cash bandwidth right now to bring somebody in. So it's gotta be me. And we're hoping to have the cash bandwidth soon, but we don't right now, but I don't want to wait until we do, because if we don't, then every small business owner has this alchemy constantly calculator running in their head all the time.
And what I've got in my head is like, but what you're good at is interviews. So if you have these customers that are resistant, you turn them into advocates by like saying, let's have a conversation where you jump on this and tell me about how you've been using this for the next 20 years, how things have evolved. Then you've got testimonials, you've got content, you've got stories. It's not costing you anything because you're already good at it.
Oh my gosh, my brother is going to want to like metaphorically kiss you on the mouth because we never even thought about that. But yeah, we're not great at integrating all of our brands. And I don't know if there's other multi-brand companies that are like that, where we know how it all fits together, but we're hesitant to tell other people how it all fits together. And so we stymie ourselves. And this is great. You jumped right in. But I guess one of my first things is if somebody's like me and is panicked and is like, I don't have the cache bandwidth right now. Google is, killing me with so many ideas. We talk about like you put the first things first.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking to people, what are the first things first?
So the first things first is I talk about and tell me like, how does business come to you right now? Like what works? Because I have so many people that come to me and they're like, oh my God, I have to be on social media. And I'm like, well, yeah, you can be, but you don't have to be. Like, is that where people, and they have so much stress or anxiety about, they have to do this, whatever this is, because all the Joneses are doing this. And if we go through the conversations, I'm like, well, how does business come to you? Oh, well, it's all through referral. And so I'm like, so then why do you want to be like, yes, you can be on social media, but if it's coming through referrals, then you're doing something more touchy-feely with your clients and like relationships and just reminding them that it's referrals, right? And so some of the very first is I want to know what happens, like how does business come now? And then we go back through and we say, okay, like what are triggers? Why does somebody choose to work with you, buy from you? What is it that happens at this point? And then can we capture that? And then you start focusing in a little bit more. If you are in a panic state, I will say, like, I hear from so many people that they get all, it's all in their head, and you have a conversation and it all comes out. And so chances are, like, other nerds like me in marketing, like, it's fun to brainstorm. And I will give like with you, I'm like, oh, and we could do this and we could do, I've already got like 10 things. I'm like, oh, we could do this. That would be really fun. And personally, I'll give anybody a half hour. There's a lot of people like me that, like, it's just fun. And you forget, with the whole thing, when we say use your network, like really ask out and say, hey, does anybody have somebody that knows this? Would you be willing to talk to me? Don't say, can I take you to coffee? Nobody wants to go to coffee. Like, nobody wants to coffee. Like, it's so much more honest if you say, would you mind giving me 15 minutes to pick your brain? And most people are happy to do that.
That brings up just such a great point about business in general. Like, I think, one of the things that COVID has stripped back of a lot of us is the myth that any of us can do any of this alone. Like, we've been dancing around it for a couple of years, but I think the last year has just stripped back a lot of the problems of our hyper individualized American society and a lot of the downsides to it. And so you're seeing, especially in small businesses, I see this a lot in like Clubhouse and some of the more organic networking spaces that are in. We're in a great kind of very organic networking space together. That there is more people want to be helpful than we give them credit for. Like, I think a lot of people assume they might be the only business who feels really generous, or they might be the only small business owner that wants to help out, and everybody else is like Comcast. And like, that's actually not true. Like, most of us just want to help out because all of us, yes, as I joke all the time, we've become accustomed to eating. So we do like to turn a profit. I got to keep the lights on.
There's that.
Increasingly so, business owners are in it to change the world as well, to make the world a better place. You don't get out of bed in the morning. Most people do not get out of bed in the morning for their profit margin. True. There are definitely some, but all the research shows about 80% get out of bed for a reason that they hold in tension with their profit margin, whether it's their employees or the product they're making that they think is changing the world or making someone's life better or making someone happy, which is changing the world because happiness is an engine of change. It's all that kind of stuff. So I love that you brought up, like, just ask. Just ask. Like, I would love to talk to anybody about how to start conversations a little bit differently. It takes me 2 seconds and no labor because I think about all this stuff all the time and it's fun. And so I think that's a really great thing, because isn't marketing so much about creating a community, a network of people that consistently buy from you? So of course, having a communal idea is really important.
Well, and it, with everything, marketing, with everything else, like, it comes back to relationships. I mean, if you're in the business, like, you've heard a million times, we buy from those we know, like, and trust, right?
But it's true most of the time.
It is.
I sometimes buy from people who, like, I just want to shut them up on Instagram, and I'm so curious, I can't even like function anymore. But most of the time I trust people when I buy from them.
Right. And like, you are almost like, even if you don't have anything, like, you can't buy from them right now, like when they're really cool and really on, like, you'll pass them on and do other things. And like, when you say the happiness rise, like my husband and I, so my husband is a doctor who is actually like saving lives, literally, but he's in, like the corporate environment, and he gets red tape and he feels so underappreciated. And like, my clients tell me all the time how much they love me. And, he's like, there's so much more of a reward. Cause like I said, even if, for me, it's no strings attached. Like if we have a conversation and you want to end up working together, fine. But it's actually fun for me.
Yeah.
Most people are so grateful. And then they go and tell, like, Nicole gave me this amazing advice, and if you ever need, you should, like, it's that karma thing. It all comes back in there. But at the end of the day, like, when people feel good about you, like, it feels good when people feel good about you. Is that like weird to say, or like the thing? But it's, a lot of our philanthropy is also very selfish, right? Because we get something out of it, whether that's giving money, donating, like whatever it is. But for this type of stuff, it's exciting for me. Like, it's fun.
I love that. And I was actually just on another interview with somebody who talks about, she does a lot of training around energy and the idea that people are attracted to other energies. And you hear it now a lot, like, well, I really vibed with you, or things like that the youths say. But, when we talk about why people work together and why people trust a brand or why people really like an idea, I think a lot of it does come down to that energy. Like, I feel comfortable with this person immediately. There's an intangible there. I don't know how to articulate it. And so I guess it sounds, from everything you've said, it sounds like so much of marketing is just being really honest about that energy and just saying, like, this is exactly who we are. In a way, it feels different than the way people used to talk about marketing, which is almost like you're constantly going after somebody. And now it's like, no, just know who you are, be consistent. And there's a balance here, but sometimes folks are just going to find you.
And, it's like very much what you said. There are a million people that do what I do. The people that choose to work with me do so because they like me.
It just flat out. Same. We're DEI in, like, educators. We are a dime a dozen these days. So yeah.
And so, all of that, you hear about the whole, like, find your niche, find your thing that makes you unique. And especially if you are very much part of your brand, you are what makes it unique. And so, like, showing that personality, showing that, like, if you are a little snarky, if you are, like, if you're funny, if, like, what, you've got to balance, like, you can't totally turn people, can't totally be mean to people, but, some people appreciate tough love. Like, I say up front, like, in my proposal, it says, I will ask a lot of questions because I'm like a 5-year-old and why is my favorite question. But I'll tell people, like, I'm not a yes man. Like, if you really want it to be that way, but when you tell me something that's a really bad idea, I'm going to be like, so
I mean,
just so you know,
it's your company and everybody has agency, but I find that terrible. Yeah.
You can soften it, right? But like, I'm not a yes person. Like, I'll give it to you straight. And for sometimes I'm like, I know I've talked myself out of clients because I'm too honest for my own good, but I'm just like, I'm not out to make $1 million. I'm really not. Like, if that happens, great. But I really like what I do. And I like having the relationships. And, I think the karma always comes, like it comes back. And, if you are pleasant to work with,
I think that's great. I mean, I was going to ask you, like, what's your ideal client? Because I always love to know, like, not in the business pitch, but like dream, like, who do you just, like, you wake up and you love to work with? But to me, you just answered that. It's fun people who are passionate about their brands and passionate about their business and are open to answering 4.9 million of your questions.
Pretty much. Yeah. Like, my greatest clients are the ones that have been at, like, I say 5 years. It's whatever. It might take you 2 years. It might take you 10, but like, you've reached the point where you've done what you can yourself and you're ready to, like, who you are a bit.
Yeah.
But like, you're ready to work with somebody to step up your game. And that's where I get to come in and ask all these questions. Okay, what have you done? What have you not done? Have you tried this? Can we do that type of stuff? I'm not so great at the real startups, because
that's a very special skill set to build something out of nothing. Yeah, that's a specific thing. I'm not great at that either. So
yeah, that's like, to me, you have to at least have a basis of who you are, and then I can help you grow that.
yeah.
But if you're like, because we all know, we've all been there, like the first 2 years of business, you do whatever you can get paid for, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Throwing spaghetti at a wall looked like an art form. That's what entrepreneurs are. Yeah.
And it takes a little while to like find your niche and be like, okay, this is who I am. Because at first it's all right. Yeah, I'll do that. Sure.
Yeah.
And you know what, even through, we've all had moments, even like 8-9 years in, where, you know, it's a little slow, and sure, I'll do that this time.
Yeah. I have a friend who jokes, like, there are times where I will attend the opening of a grocery store just because, like, I need to, like, I need to show my face somewhere. And then there are other times where I only attend like red carpet galas, and she talks about the ebbs and flow of business that way. But yeah, I mean, we've all shown up to grocery store openings. We've all been in that phase of our business. So yeah. Well, I'm gonna hit pause here for the simple fact that if I keep, like, we've hit the point where we're gonna overwhelm people with information. That makes sense. But I have like 45,000 other questions. But I'm gonna hit pause here, and I'm going to thank you so much for joining us. I love talking with marketing folks, because to me, not only are you magicians, but people who love marketing like you obviously do are just innately curious people. And the curiosity is absolutely a superpower. And I find it really fun to chat with people who just love making other people's lives better, which is a lot of what marketing is as well. So thank you again for joining me. This has been a pleasure. Folks, if you are interested in brand strategy and marketing, all these other like really businessy buzzwords, then definitely make sure you get in touch with Nicole. All of her contact information is going to be below this video. If you've liked this chat and the vibe of it, please give it a thumbs up. YouTube really relies on algorithms to make us popular, and that thumbs up really helps. If you like the conversations in general, or you vibe with me, let's throw that word out there. Dr. Aaron and I make about 5 to 6 videos a week. We talk a lot on this channel, and we'd love for you to subscribe so you don't miss a single thing where we talk about cultivating curiosity and empowering inclusivity. So again, Nicole, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having such a lovely conversation. So it was fun.
I love it when it's fun. And I will see all the rest of you next time on Welcome to My World.